So the next kits I'm going to show you are the olive tree kits. So we have 2 olive tree kits for July. We have a sort of taller, more what I would say rustic kind of looking olive tree that's sort of more woody and more, yeah, just a bit wilder, I guess. And then we have a smaller, more compact little olive tree. So these are the ones that we had last year. I think a lot of you still have them. I've got mine, it's coming into its 2nd year now, so that was in the kits before last summer. And again, that is sat on my kitchen windowsill, happy as anything. It does really well. It brings me a lot of joy. I do love my little olive kit, and I really hope you love these too. So I'm going to pot up the little olive tree kit, and it's exactly the same with the Tuscan olive tree kit. So with the Tuscan, it comes with this gorgeous Amelia pot. So I don't think we've ever had these as kits before, these pots, but we had them in the pop-up shop, or in the shop here, and they sold out in the day. So I thought, I've been waiting, because I just think they're perfect for an olive tree. They kind of have that sort of Italian, Mediterranean feel to them. Quite a simple pot with just a lovely kind of rope detail around the top. And I think they work perfectly with the lovely kind of rustic olive tree. And then the little olive tree kit comes in our sort of best-selling Simona ribbed pot with its matching kind of bobbly saucer. Again, just think it's a lovely little combination. So I'm going to pop this up for you and tell you how to do that and how to look after it. So in your kit, you will have your gravel, compost, and your 2 different types of moss. You'll of course have your pot and your little olive tree. So we're just going to start off with some gravel in the base of the pot. Make sure your pot's set on its saucer. So the sort of the job of the gravel is just to provide some drainage so that the roots of the olive aren't sort of sat in water for prolonged periods of time. I'm then going to pop in just a sort of handful, I think, of compost. I'm just sort of working out where I want the pot to sit. That looks about right. I might put a tiny bit more in, because I want as much of the kind of trunk, if you can call it a trunk, it's so delicate, the trunk of the tree to sort of be sat as far up at the top of the pot as possible, so you get as much of that tree, you know, in its 1st year. It will stay not much bigger than this. It won't grow too much, but I want to be able to see the lovely sort of tree detail. Okay, then we'll just give it a water and then take it out. I'm just gonna see, I might pop a little bit more in, because I just want it to sort of almost sit flush, that's better, flush with the pot. Okay, and then around the sides of that olive tree, you pop in the rest of your compost. So your compost will have lots of horticultural grit to provide that drainage. Now, I always make a mess doing this. I will never learn. So just gently sort of compressing that soil down either side, or sort of around the side, sorry, of the tree. Okay, I'm going to clear that up for you so that you're not just seeing compost. Okay, so that's all sort of potted up and ready for the moss. It's up to you which type of moss you use, whether you use both or just one. I'm going to try the bun moss and see how it looks, see if it sits flush. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take the root structure off the back. So you'll have your bun moss, and then you'll see the brown sort of root structure behind. You can just gently, it's quite satisfying, pinch that off, and then it will sort of be a little bit sort of narrow, not narrow, what's the word? Shallower. So it will sit hopefully a little bit more flush in the pot. And I'm just going to add that around the base of the tree. Just covering up the compost. And again, you don't have to do this. If you want to leave the compost bare, without the moss, then that is obviously fine. Whichever look you prefer. And then I'm going to have some of the flat moss in there. I'm just going to break it up and just sort of pop it in the areas where I can see the compost. So let's go through care for olive trees. These are sort of, I was going to say designed in my head, or sort of thought out with the idea that they can be obviously put indoors or outdoors. Now I have mine indoors on a windowsill in my kitchen. You can keep them outdoors, of course. They do really well outdoors, obviously, but I would suggest bringing them in over winter. So let's go through outdoors. Okay, so you pop your olive tree outdoors. In the autumn, so at the end of September, when it's starting to get cooler and you're thinking, we might be in for a frost, it needs to start coming in. So you can do it one of two ways. You can either take the risk and bring it straight in and hope for the best, and it will more than likely be fine. That's probably the way I would do it, because I'm probably a bit lazy when it comes to that. I just bring the plants in and hope they don't go into shock. Or if they do go into shock, I hope that they then kind of recover, which is what happens with my fig. It goes into shock and it drops the leaves and then they grow back again. In after the summer, you can bring it in so it's not going to get killed by the first frosts. And then you can enjoy it indoors throughout the winter, and then you can pop it back in the garden if you want to after the last frosts in the spring. So you're looking maybe sort of April time. Or you can keep it indoors all year round, or you can mix and match. So I keep mine indoors, and it sits happily, and it's grown, and it's got new sort of leaf hairs on it, ready to bloom. It does really well. It doesn't give me olives, but I'm assuming you know that obviously we're probably not going to get olives in this country with our weather, unfortunately. So yeah, keep it indoors. They are very similar to lavender in that they like a really good drenching, and then they like to go sort of be left and almost go dry at the top. So if you put your finger in the soil and it feels dry at the top sort of centimetre, it's time for a new drenching, and then leave it alone again, and then just check the soil at the top. So I am watering my olive at the moment about once a week. I put it in a sink of water if I can, or I will just sort of pour, my gosh, usually it's a glass from my children's water that they've left, and I'll just pop it in the olive. But if you want to, you can fill a sink up with water, put it in, leave it in there for half an hour, let it soak up all that water, and then take it out, tip any excess water that's in the saucer out, and then put it back into position. And it will do really well. I personally find them really easy to look after. I don't do anything special. Mine has been in a 14 centimetre pot for 2 years. I haven't repotted it. It's happy. It's not grown loads. It's, you know, maybe this now, but it's happy, and it brings a lot of joy to me personally. So it's the same across the board with the Tuscan olive. Just same care, same potting up principle, same soil around the edge, same moss on top, same outside or inside, and a good drenching sort of once a week. And that's about it. They don't need deadheading because they don't produce any flowers, so there isn't really any kind of care. I personally wouldn't prune mine because I quite like the kind of how it goes a bit wild and rustic. And that's about it. So that is your Tuscan olive kit and your little olive tree kit.